Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. I've been busy haying for the last week and a half's worth of videos, so today I'm going to take you all around the farm. I got a little bit of this and that to do. These guys are belly aching at me. We'll take care of them later. I'm glad I got my hay in because it's been wet. We got an inch of rain yesterday. We got an inch of rain 2 days before that. We've got rain in the forecast today. It'll make the grass grow. First things first, this is my big horse, the Farmall 856 that I stripped down last winter. And here it's remained, almost ready for paint. Off camera, I've been fixing little things. I adjusted the valve lash. I took the rear hydraulic pump off to replace the suction O-ring on that and fix the clutch pedal pin that sticks out the side and all kinds of little stuff. I just haven't had the time to work on it. I've been busy outside. I also put in a filter system for the air compressor, which I moved out here so it wouldn't suck in paint fumes, and I have lots and lots of parts all lined up. Not only here, but upstairs there's boxes. I've ordered everything I can think of to get me a long ways in the work. I just won't be able to pick it up until I have more time. Howdy, bulls. Hi, Orden. This is my big project for the summer. All the way through here. Our winter pasture is wet, and it's wet, number one, because it's got some big buildings roof runoff dumping right into it. This big new pole barn here with the cattle addition is a 45-foot run of roof all dumping, and then beyond the cattle addition is dumping 25-foot worth of roof. Behind you is the old pole barn. It's got a 36-foot long roof run. All that water's dumping into the pasture. It's got no place to go, and that's not reason number two it's wet, is because it's just the low point. It's the natural low point of everything around it. It would take a major earth-moving project to make this not the low point, to kind of slope it to drain. And I'm not going to do that with my little excavator. Instead, I'm going to put in sub-drainage, but I have to wait until it dries out before I can start that. This mini excavator is another project that I've been chipping away at off camera, and that's what I'm going to use to do that sub-drainage work out in the winter pasture. I've replaced the pins and bushings on the bucket. Now the bucket's nice and tight. I went through and changed all the fluids and the filters, with the exception of the hydraulic. I'm waiting for filters to come for that. Changed the oil in the final drives, went through and greased it, checked everything out. Runs great. It's ready to go. Howdy, ladies. You're very regal. Nesting boxes are all full. Laying hens are doing great. We brought them out, must have been a couple weeks ago, and of course when we first bring them out, we shut them in this eggmobile for at least 24 hours so they know where to lay their egg and where to roost. In the morning, we open the door here and they all come streaming out. And when it starts to get dark outside, they all come in by themselves. We don't have to bring any of them in. And Hillary comes out at sunset and closes the door, and they're safe for the night. We're getting about 8 dozen eggs a day now. Egg production peaks on the summer solstice and starts to decrease from there to the winter solstice, and then it comes back up. They're always busy out here looking for goodies. That's what makes their eggs taste so good when they're on pasture. These guys, broiler chickens, meat birds as I often say, just flow right through our farm all spring, summer, and fall. This is batch 2 and 3 that are out here. They come to our farm as day-old chicks every 2 weeks. We'll do 9 or 10 of those batches, so they ship from the first week of April through mid to late August. And we time them such that every week we're butchering and we're bringing fresh chicken to market on Saturdays. Right now we're running neck and neck with demand there's none in the freezers. Everything that we bring to market every Saturday sells, and I don't bring anything home. Here's the latest batch in the brooder. Little chicks. These guys are almost 2 weeks old, and another batch is coming to go in that side later this week. What do you think, cows? Is it time to move? Move! Alright. Here's gate number 1. Yes. Oh, it's been raining so much. It's getting so I don't even need to call them anymore. They just know where they're going. They're going right into here. It's the field right above where I made hay last week. I got 2 more gates to lead them through. Watch out, guys. Watch out. Don't catch the wire. We're not going down there. We're going in here. That's right, Patty. Go on in. Who knocked down my camera? Come on, cows. Come on, you guys down in the laneway. Let's go. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Come on up here. You too, calves. They're all messing around up here. Well, 4 of them anyway are. Come on, cows. Come on in. They got a lot in this field. It's 5 acres. Hillary and I were eating breakfast this morning, looked out the back window, and Patty, our herd boss here, was having a, well, it looked like a scrum, like a rugby scrum, with her daughter Tulip, who's also a nice kind of cow on the large side, and Bee, which is the one cow that hasn't had her calf yet. I think that Tulip and Bee were ganging up on Patty to try and somehow become herd boss. Patty was having none of it, but it lasted a while. They do that from time to time. They challenge each other. The grass looks tall compared to the cattle, but it's really not. It's just these things sticking up here. If you remove them, the top of the, mainly clover and alfalfa are coming on now, and Timothy are down here at about 1 foot tall. There's not nearly as much in this field as you would think looking across at the tops of the seed heads. I think this is the 3rd rotation of the year onto the field for the cattle. I'll take you down to the slower field that I made hay off of, and we can see how it's coming back. It's been 10 days since I cut the hay on this field, and it's already growing back. These are up to 6 or 8 inches. This is probably orchard grass again, down from the level that I cut it at, which is about 3 inches. It doesn't take long when we get rain like this. This field will probably not go into second cutting. I'll put this back into rotation as soon as it comes back enough. And the idea is that I do very little second cutting hay these days, just 1 or 2 fields, because I tend to try and save as much forage as I can to keep them grazing as long as I can keep forage in prime state and not over mature. And that's how we kind of sneak through to December on grazing on a good year. Our next subject, coming up from the woods in that field down at the bottom, is this field right here that they came off of 4 days ago. She is shaggy and worked over. It's time to start clipping pastures in rotation. I'll take one out and clip it, and this is the first one that's going to be clipped. So I do that at usually a 2-week interval. It all depends on the weather, but with the weather we've been having here toward the end of this week, if it clears off, I'll clip this field, and then fields will start coming back online after either being hayed or clipped, and we'll get all this stuff off and lay it on the ground to feed the soil and thatch the ground for the hotter summer months. Clean it all up. The stuff that comes back will be wonderful looking. This is when alfalfa and clover really shine, when it gets warm and goes through this part of the summer. A Weigela bush, isn't that pretty? It'll bloom multiple times a year, and it sits just on one side to the entrance to our garden. In these 2 raised beds for salad greens and radishes, pretty much everything in the early bed is bolted at this point. We're still harvesting a little bit because we like strong greens, strong arugula, strong mustard. Romaine still coming a little bit. All the radishes are picked. It's really the second bed that we're working out of mostly now. And these guys in the second bed, arugula here. We picked the radishes already, and that's mustard growing up over here. And then in here we have Swiss chard that has just sprouted. Sunflowers are up, just barely. Sweet corn is starting to come up. I'm not very proud of that crop, but that's the way me and sweet corn work. Zucchini is up. We're getting to the end of that time of year when after you plant everything, it kind of has a slow start, and then it just kind of all of a sudden it goes poof. The tomatoes are starting to get into that phase, and the cucumbers and the pole beans, but we need a nice stretch of kind of hot, dry, sunny weather, I think, for them to really take off. The cucumbers have grown long enough, the vines, where I can get it started up onto the trellis here, and then from here the cucumber will do it by itself. It just needs to be started. That guy will grab onto the fence. I prune tomatoes aggressively all summer long, and what I've done so far is I've pruned off to 2 liters coming up here in a Y, and I've done that with all the tomato plants at this point. This one here is a cherry tomato plant. You can tell cherries always come out on these ribs. It's got little tomatoes on it. The first thing I pruned for is airspace, so no leaves ever touch the ground. I want a good airspace underneath, and this is all to deal with early and late blight, which is a big deal here. If you don't keep up with it, they'll succumb to it most years. That's really the biggest reason I went to growing them espaliered like this, because so much airflow can come through them and dry out the leaves, and it helps them resist blight more. The second thing I prune for is leaders. So if you look at this main that's coming up through here, one of my 2 mains, you have this shoot coming off of the crotch between it and this leaf, and that will become a leader if you let it go, and I just pinch those off. Here's another one right here. There's a tomato growing. That's a black crim, will be. I train the plants to keep the foliage all on the south side of the fence here, so that any tomatoes that grow in will all be growing on this side, sun ripened and not caught in the fence. And I have to come out here about once a week and take off mainly these second mains that start, mainly the second mains, and train them that way. And so I'm not letting the tomatoes weave through the fence. I'm keeping them on the south side, and unlike the cucumbers, they won't send out those tendrils to attach themselves to the fence. So I use old baling twine and just loosely tie the tomatoes like this. And pole beans have developed their tendrils, so I just loosely get them going. Nature always wraps things counterclockwise like this. It's true. If you look at things, these will always wrap counterclockwise. I have to get them going here. These vines naturally want to do that wrapping, so it won't be long they'll form themselves to the fence that way. With first cutting hay done and in the barn, it's a nice time to take a breath, relax a little bit, and look around and enjoy what the season is bringing. There's so much more to come this summer. When it gets warm and hot and dry, I'm going to be busy clipping fields and digging in the winter pasture and getting the summer's projects done. We got beef going to the butcher this week, 2 steers to start our summer of beef at the farmer's market. The farmer's market's been very busy. It only gets busier after June 1st. It's jam-packed in the pavilion on Saturdays when I'm there, and we'll have beef straight through from July 4th pretty much into the fall. Steaks sell in a couple weeks after we bring beef to the butcher, but the goal is to have things straight through. You're welcome to come and visit me at the market. I absolutely love to get visitors at the market. I like to kibitz with folks for a little while, and it's really nice to put a face to the folks who view the channel. I will be making a market video soon. I know I expressed some reservations about that and filming the public in a previous video, but I really think I need to do at least one market video to make the connection between what happens here and serving the folks that our food goes to, also showing what else is involved in our farmers market as far as produce and crafts and prepared food. It's really an awesome market, and I want to be able to share it. The next thing is that what we raise on the farm has been changing. Hillary and I made a decision a couple years ago that we were starting to kind of ramp down and head into semi-retirement, and that's the mindset that I have, semi-retirement. So we have cut down quite a bit on the quantities of layers, broilers, by a factor of 4, I think. We're at 1/4 what we used to raise. Beef is still going strong. We decided not to do turkeys this year mainly because it was just so stressful allocating the turkeys different weights to customers, making sure we didn't miss any for that really important Thanksgiving or Christmas meal. And they're heavy. They're heavy to butcher. So it's something that we said, well, we're going to stop doing that and sort of focus on other things, the garden and that yard, and just having a little bit more time to breathe. And the same goes with pigs. I get a comment every video or 2 or 3 that somebody misses the pigs. I have to admit I don't miss the pigs that much. They were very stressful to raise, and I grew to really dislike their quarters in the barn. And after all the breeding problems I had, I need a break. I had talked about raising some out in the field here, some feeder pigs this summer. We got plenty of pork in the freezer, so we decided not to. And if you only watch the channel for the pigs and you say, I don't want to watch anymore because there's no pigs, well, geez, there's a whole lot of other things to offer on the channel, and if it was just the pigs you were looking for, I guess, that's fair. The last thing I wanted to mention is that tomorrow, the day after this video comes out, Thursday, I'll be at the Red Power Showdown in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. I know it's late notice, but I forgot to mention it on the previous videos. Red Power Showdown is a regional international harvester collectors event, and it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week. I'll only be there on Thursday. I can't make it to the Red Power Roundup in Iowa this year. It's just too difficult for me to get there. It's in a small town. Accommodations are difficult. Travel is difficult. I would need to be away from the farm for a week, which is not possible, so I'm not going. I don't know if I can make it to Missouri next year either, because that's kind of a similar case there. I'd rather that they were in some place that's easy to fly to or easier to drive to, but that's the way it goes. I hope to see you at the Red Power Showdown, even though it's short notice. And that's it. That's all there is. That's the status of the farm, I guess. Doing what we love to do and just doing a little less of it and enjoying it even more. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.